store-bought, braided or liberated, your skin from light to midnight, you step with the tenacity of your ancestors who overcame centuries of enslavement, decades of colonialism and colorism. You have always stood a head above your Maya, Mestizo, and Garifuna sister who marvel at the lyrical gymnastics you do with Creole. Whether in Belize City, where the language has more English-based mixture, or in the rural villages where your ancestors settled and your accent forces me to keen listening, as I hear broad Creole untamed by linguistic colonial imposition. I see you, with your skin, with your long dark brown hair, or your skin telling of European adventurers and their children or grandchildren from unions with the people of the Americas, light brown skin with light brown, green or blue eyes, taller than your indigenous sister, shorter than your Creole sister, your tongue rapid-fire trilingual, telling your upbringing in the north, west, or south. Your journey here may be from centuries from the north or in the recent wave of migration from the south or west, sheltering you from human rights violations, giving you opportunities in a multicultural environment with the label of refugee. I see you with your jet black hair permed into straight submission, or curly, another day in jeans or traditional skirts that accentuate your curves, blouse a color that complements your dark brown skin, confident because you know your history. You know the journey of explorers and defiance of your ancestors who told the French and the English enslavement will not be their destiny. I see the rhythm of the Caribbean Sea moving through your blood as you dance at a Dogo or Mali. I hear this rhythm in your language when you greet each other or as the radio plays your most recognizable contributions to the nation. Women of Belize, I see you.
Thank you, Sabine. That was wonderful. At this time, I would like to invite our brother Mutabaruka. If there's any remarks you would like to share with the public. Give him a round of applause, please.
Good afternoon. We want to thank Sister Yaya for inviting us here. 25 years ago we were here. And 25 years is a lot of years. I know a lot of ones who now hear about Mutabaruka. Is wondering who this fellow. But we know that people who is over 30 or 40 will know who he is. Well, the Emancipation Day in Jamaica is a holiday. So right now in Jamaica, no one goes to work today. They kind of reflect on what is really the meaning of Emancipation Day. The problem with it is that people use holidays to keep parties and dance and all these things and don't really think about what is the real meaning of why they got the holidays in the first place. Now in Belize we say the Emancipation Day is happening and people who want it to be a special day is always lobbying for these things, but the government is who can really decide what is and what is not. So if the government is not pursuing the matter of what really is Emancipation Day and try to instill in the people that Emancipation Day is a very important part of them development and survival, we're going to talk and talk as normal people and nothing happens. So you have to have a government and you have to have a people who is lobbying the government to do what the government is supposed to do. Because we must remember that the government is servants. They are not masters. They are servants for the people. It's the people pay the government. And when the government or when the people decide that they want something, it is the interest of the government to listen to the people and make legislation that can really stir the people in consciousness and say, yes, this is it. Now we know that a lot of people is scared to say that them is African. If you ask most people, majority of people, them say them is not African because them never born in Africa. Yet still, a certain looking kind of people, you say them is Chinese. And you wonder how them get to be Chinese and them never go to China yet. The argument is that, well, them is Chinese, yeah, them name Yong, Sheng, Ping, Pong and all these names. No, we as African people is in a serious problem when it comes out to just admitting and saying that we are Africans. One, if you say we is African, it might sound like we downgrade in Belize or we downgrade in Jamaica or we downgrade in whatever island we find ourselves at. Two, a lot of people go and say, you're fool because you never born in Africa, so oh, you say you're African. Well, a cow born in a pig pen, him is still a cow. It don't make him nothing more than a cow. We as Africans must understand that the root of the problem that we have is the idea that we don't have nothing to belong to. And when we say belong to, we're talking about land. Land is the basis of power. If you don't have any land, you don't have any power. Now when we say we is African, because we are connecting ourselves to a continent, not an island. You can't give up a continent for an island. Because we were brought here not by free will, but by force. And most of us say we is Belize and we is Trinidad and we is this. It's one ship bring around here so. And them just put you in different parts of the country them, in the island them. But you take the man out of Africa, you cannot take Africa out of him. So the first thing is to recognize our history and where we are connected to, because every human being on earth is connected to a continent, to a land space, not the space that they were brought by force, but where their ancestors actually are. So Europeans, Europe. And we talk about Chinese, Indians, all of them connected to an island. It is only the black person or the black people in this part of the world refuse to accept where them ancestors come from, and that is the first part of the problem. Marcus Garvey said, if you have no confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. But with confidence, you have won even before you have started. So a people without a knowledge of them history is like a tree without roots. And we cannot start the history from Emancipation Day or the time when they bring us here. We have to go back, way back, and understand that Africa existed thousands of years before the advent of Europeans and Arabs into Africa. And that is really what we must show the youth them today. And the education must be part of that. Not the indoctrination that we have gotten for hundreds of years. Because we say that the education or the indoctrination don't work for a collective group of people. It might work for individuals, but collective. And if one man is free and the others are not free, no man can truly say that he is free. Because the freedom of one is dependent on the freedom of all. So we talk about a collective security where the governments must lead the people, but the people also must lead the government. Because if the people lead, the leaders must follow. And that is really the message of Emancipation Day. Emancipation Day must emancipate you from the ideas that has corrupted our minds and our system for hundreds of years now, that has been perpetuated by the colonial masters and still is being perpetuated by colonial masters. And you can see it in the way of the people, how them eat, how them dress, how them think, and how them behave toward each other. We have to change that mindset, and the only way we can change the mindset if we go back to the roots. What were the Africans doing before they came here? They might want to tell us that we was running up and down in Africa, dancing buka 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 and all these things. But that's not true. That's not true. Our first connection with Africa is in the Bible. But the church don't read, the church don't teach us geography. So most of us don't know that. So when we hear about Egypt, when I was a youth, I think Egypt was in the sky. Believe you me. And if you ask most youth, show me a map and show you Egypt, they're not going to know. And nowadays when you hear about Egypt, you don't even consider saying Africa. When you hear about Ethiopia,